When you hurt someone or supposedly wrong them, do you feel that all the pain and suffering that comes with it, you got to go through that throughout your life? And do you feel that it's fair for you to go through that kind of a thing? If you said yes to any of these things, then maybe what you do is self-sabotage. Hi, I am Kashika Gulati, a counseling psychologist, and in this video you'll learn how to forgive yourself, to be a better person for yourself, and why you need to actually forgive yourself. So when over the period of time we keep sabotaging ourselves, not forgive ourselves, and most probably not even others, we crowd our mind with tons of things. We tend to become those people who do not believe in humanity, not come from the place of genuineness and authenticity, and become that bitter person that you do not like yourself to be and perceive others to be so. Like, the world is such that they don't deserve my goodness. Those are the kind of things that might end up happening if you become a person who doesn't believe in forgiving, not themselves, not others. And I'm very sure that's not a really great way to live. And that can be the reason for you to start forgiving yourself. Start with yourself and start forgiving others as a result of that. And let me tell you, forgiving yourself is harder than maybe forgiving others, because we are the most hard on ourselves. But as I say that, it's not impossible for you to get to a place where you can be compassionate towards yourself and you can forgive yourself. There are very simple 3 ways through which you can come to a place where you start being compassionate to yourself, where you start understanding that forgiveness is something that you actually deserve, to have a simpler life, to have a better life. And if you haven't watched my previous video about what forgiveness really is, just so you do not misunderstand the term, go and watch that video. But here are 3 ways through which you can forgive yourself. The first one is take responsibility of what you did. Just because you are going to forgive yourself doesn't mean that you will make it smaller. What happened, you got to take responsibility of that. Everything in this world starts with taking responsibility of what happened, of your feelings, of what you did. Because till the time you don't do that, till the time you are blaming either someone or the situation, trust me, you won't get to a point where you can look at the situation emotionally in a mature way. So just understand that what you did that at particular point of time, and you felt however. And that's where all the healing starts. Healing is not a rush towards closure. Don't feel that just because you have taken the responsibility of it means that you gotta forgive yourself, that you actually have forgiven yourself and the thing is done now. No, that's not how it works. Forgiveness is a work in progress, and you gotta give yourself the time for it. Taking responsibility will only help facilitate the process for you, and it will take you to the point where you can actually start forgiving yourself. So even in the court of law, if a person commits a crime, they are only punished for it once. It's not like they serve their sentence and they have to do that all over again. But this is what we do to ourselves, right? For one thing that we may have done wrong to ourselves or to someone else, we are hard on ourselves so much that we spend our lives being hard on ourselves for that same thing. That's where, when we do not forgive ourselves, we start becoming a person that we ourselves do not like. And for you to have a lighter mind, to have a life that you look forward to not crowd your mind with tons of things, this is the one favor that you can do to yourself. So start off by really taking responsibility of what you do, of what you did in the past, that you are still not forgiving yourself for. The second step is accept the consequences of it, for yourself and for the other person, if there was another person involved. You gotta accept it. Yes, you went through it. For example, say you used to be late to work every single day and you were fired, like as a result of that, or maybe a lot of things that may have happened, and you are hard on yourself. You keep beating yourself up for that I was so careless, I did not give it much importance, I did not value it, and hence I am at a place where I am unemployed. Just a hypothetical example. You cannot keep living with it all your life, because you are just repeating that, and you might actually end up just continuing to do that, continue to follow that pattern. All you gotta do is accept that you were fired from your job and that you went through it, that you felt whatever at that point of time, and you accept that for yourself and for the other person involved. And the third and the most important thing that you gotta do is look at yourself bigger than what you did in the past. You are not what you do, you are not what you did for that matter. So for example, I am late to some place once, and I start telling myself that I am a person who has no discipline. This is exactly what happens when we are beating ourselves up for one thing that we did wrong. I am a liar and I am not trustworthy because you broke someone else's trust. Now sit with yourself and journal all your feelings. What is it that your inner critic is telling you in the moment? Is it telling you that you are a liar, you are not trustworthy, you don't deserve to have a good life? Just write down all the thoughts and feelings that you are having. And the next step that you do is come up with evidence of those things. If you believe that you are not trustworthy, then come up with all the instances where you felt that you broke someone's trust. Chances are that you will find out that you are judging yourself for that one or maybe minority of instances and beating yourself up repeatedly for that and suffering on that account since forever. So the idea is to give yourself that logic that I went through it once, I accept the consequence of what happened, but what is it that I can do now? Do I judge myself and do I label myself for what I did in the past, or do I want to change who I am in the present and in the future? And that is what happens when you accept what happened. You learn from your mistakes and you make a resolve that you won't do it ever again, that you won't be late to work anytime in the near future because you value your job enough, and that because you've learned your lesson. Every situation has some or the other learning, if and only if we are ready to learn from it. So just make a list of all the thoughts that you are having and come up with the instances of all the situations that support and do not support those thoughts, and you'll know the reality. Because you gotta understand at the end of the day that you can't be suffering for one thing forever. Your life is too valuable for you to just suffer for something that you did once. Repent it, you got hurt, you did feel pain, you do feel regret, but then you gotta forgive yourself for it. You gotta come to a place that you let past remain in past and move past the past in real sense. Only and only if you realize that this beating yourself up for something and suffering on the account of it is not serving you, even though the deepest part of you thinks that you deserve that suffering. Trust me, you do not deserve that suffering. And if you cannot come to the place where you can forgive yourself, and it's a deeper thing that you need to process, make sure that you actually go to a therapist and seek professional help, because this is not the way of living where you keep self-sabotaging. Because if you do that, I'm very, very sure you know that anyone who comes with criticism, you tend to accept it and you tend to internalize and see yourself as that person. So self-sabotage happens when you have a lower self-esteem, and that happens with you beating yourself up for things over a period of time and making a habit out of it. Imagine a life where you forgive yourself, where you go through whatever, the hurt, the disappointment, but you are still the person who acts from a place of authenticity, who is still very genuine. I'm sure that you've seen tons of people and you could be one of them too. How about you live your life the way you really want, the way you actually dreamt of as a child? That's really possible, and everything starts off by forgiving yourself. So forgive yourself to start with, and then you'll know how to forgive others as well. Thank you.